You're
But
not
now
even.
Mel has me thinking.
Oh,
So our topic today,
yes.
these two would have very interesting bucket list ideas for vacationing.
I can't even imagine.
And I my brain is going way too fast because where on earth or outside of Earth would Draco and Astoria want to go? And let's think honeymoon.
Bali. I'm sure he owns property there. He just wants to go see his property there.
He would burn instantaneously. He would walk, he would apparate, go, oh, the sun, and then die
He's
from the
not a
sunburn that just happened
vampire,
in his life.
child. He's not a vampire, and I'm sure there are spells to protect against sunburn. But
Actually, we
yes,
haven't talked about that, but that would be a
our
good. That would be a good.
topic is Draco and Astoria. Thanks to Teresa F. for the idea. I cannot believe it has taken us 108 episodes to get here.
Oh,
Damn.
girl.
That's blows in my mind. So here's where I'm going to start with our factoids. Daphne Greengrass, her older sister, was mentioned exactly one time in all 7 books. And only as a throwaway sentence when Hermione is invited into her house. So we know zippola about Daphne. At the end of the book, 19 years later, we find out that he has married Astoria Greengrass, who again, one mention, and we know nothing. Then Pottermore came out, which is now wizardingworld.com, and the author filled us in on her thoughts on this person. But we still know nothing about.
By the way, can we show a show of hands who thinks the author forgot that she named the character Daphne and came up with the story of thinking she just had that name?
100%. That is absolutely what happened. That headcanon fully accepted.
Okay.
I am
Absolutely.
100% with you on that one, because
Absolutely.
what the author said at one point was they chose not to put Draco with Pansy because that would reinforce 2 evils getting together. So she wanted to soften future Draco. But since we know nothing about Daphne, I'm going to say she forgot what she named her. Yeah. I'm headcanon 100%.
And then was like, oh no, it's a sister.
Younger sister. Yep, that's
younger sister. Because Daphne is actually in Malfoy's year, in all of their year.
Yeah.
And Astoria is 2 years younger, so she's 1 year younger than Ginny.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing that I realized in doing this topic, and Teresa, you've made my brain hurt thinking about this. The only way for us to truly believe anything that we know about Astoria Greengrass is to accept Cursed Child. Because all of the facts about her, and I put facts in quotes, I just remembered we are not a visual medium. All of the facts in quotes about her are things we found out in Cursed Child, like the fact that she has a curse, the fact that she died in his 3rd year, the fact that they went away. Like everything we know was in Cursed Child. So for everybody who says Cursed Child isn't real, then we know nothing about Astoria.
I love that so many people accept Cursed Child as real when it comes to Astoria. When it comes to, we're going to make Draco better. When it comes to the beauteous that is Scorpius. But everything else about Cursed Child is wrong. It cracks me up. I'm like, the picking and choosing makes me giggle.
Well, I wasn't going into the Cursed Child.
No, I know, but
I'm just saying everything that, what's her face? The writer.
Astoria.
The writer wrote about is because of Cursed Child.
Yep.
So the only thing we know for sure about Astoria is that Narcissa and Lucius found her to be something of a disappointment because she did not want to raise Scorpius to believe muggles were scum. That's all we need. So I have chosen to put her in Ravenclaw.
What?
What?
Even though her sister's in Slytherin?
And everything else says she's in Slytherin.
Really?
Not everything else.
Every other headcanon, I say that, puts her in Slytherin.
Nope. There's
Okay.
nothing that says where she was placed. There's nothing that says if and when she graduated. There's nothing that says anything. So I have chosen to put her in Ravenclaw. She was a smart enough person to change her mind post-war and be more tolerant. That is not something I think most of the Slytherins would have done. So I'm choosing to put her in Ravenclaw because she was an intelligent young woman.
And because most of the Slytherins would not have done that, I don't think Draco would have married a Ravenclaw.
I do.
Nope.
I think he wouldn't have married a Hufflepuff.
Really?
I think he wouldn't have married a Gryffindor, but I think he would have married a Ravenclaw. And looking at Scorpius, I think that's where he gets some of his intelligence from.
Whoa.
I decided that's my headcanon and I'm sticking to it.
I love your headcanon. And I'm butting heads with the headcanon that I found when I was doing research. Someone, and I will look up the name and put it out there again because I want to give credit where credit's due, wrote what is apparently a very popular fan fiction about Astoria. And they had her befriending the only Muggle-born Slytherin. And I thought that was an interesting concept of a Muggle-born Slytherin. So I'm torn. I think you made a really good argument for Ravenclaw, even though every ounce of my Ravenclaw body wants to reject it. But I also like the idea of her befriending a Muggle-born Slytherin, and that's what gets her thinking. So I love all of these ideas.
And that's lovely, except that's fan fiction, and I'm talking as realistic as we can. So the other thing that I wanted to point out was we only know Daphne's features, and we know them from the throwaway line that she had dark hair and blue eyes. But here's what I saw on some site online, and I think it was the Harry Potter wiki, I could be wrong, but since Scorpius is blonde, this indicates either Astoria is blonde herself or she at least carries the phenotype for blonde hair, although it's more likely Astoria herself is blonde due to blonde hair being a recessive trait. So I have accepted that Astoria was probably blonde, even though Daphne had dark hair, even though I don't accept Narcissa. Anyway, moving on.
We're all being dragged back to science class and genetics, and
people are looking up phenotype.
Like, so if your mom has brown hair and your dad has blonde hair,
right?
But you're right. It is an interesting concept. I don't know if I like the idea of her being in Ravenclaw, but I also really like the idea of having someone who really represents not all Slytherins. So
yeah, but I think we have that already in the number of Slytherins from Harry's year who didn't fight. Like, I think there are people we know of. We don't ever hear of Daphne fighting. We don't hear of Theo, like the throwaway words like Theo, Daphne, those people we don't actually know in the books. We don't hear of them actually ever bullying, and we don't hear of them in the war. And
at a certain point, though, being passive is being.
Not to mention, didn't they just have all of the Slytherins leave?
They put all the Slytherins
they put them away. But that doesn't mean they all did. Like, I can't believe. Okay, there is no all in this world. So I do not believe all of the Slytherins in Harry's year were like Draco. I just don't. So we already had a tolerant Slytherin in there somewhere. Plus, we discussed earlier, what was the other Slytherin girl? Not Pansy, not Daphne. Not Maleficent. There's another one.
Bulstrode.
but not Maleficent. There's another one.
But her name's not
Millicent.
Maleficent.
Girl.
Sorry, Millicent.
It's doing too much descendants.
There's another one. What is her name?
Oh shoot. I know you're talking about Tracy.
Yes. Tracy Davis was supposed to be on Half-Blood.
Yes.
So they already had tolerance in there. I'm not saying they were tolerant of her. I'm saying she was tolerant. So you're saying you're looking for somebody who was a not all Slytherins. They had Tracy. She didn't stand up for herself because
I would bet you 75% of our listeners right now are going, who the fuck is Tracy?
Right?
Like, I'm looking for someone that has a little bit,
that's the thing.
A little bit more presence.
Tracy Davis got more sentences than Astoria did. Okay.
Okay. All right. Touche. Honestly, I like her being in Ravenclaw. I like that journey for Draco, but we've had discussions about, okay, but how far did Draco really push it?
But here's the thing. They didn't go, there's no proof of anything that they hung out, knew it, like there was nothing in school. Yeah. So he's meeting this person, re-meeting this person, post-war, post whatever reparations his family pretended to do, and post the line of pureblood women his parents have pushed past him. So we're talking at least 2 or 3 years post-graduating. So whether he was in Ravenclaw or not has no bearing on who, like, the woman he actually married. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about this a minute. How do we think they met? Very basic Draco and Astoria question. Outside of let's say she's in Ravenclaw for sake of argument. Outside of not meeting in any classes they would have shared because they were different years, how do you think they met? Like, what's your...
I have a theory.
Go ahead, because I have one too.
My headcanon is that after the 14th terrible blind date that his mother set him up on, Draco went to the bar to have a drink. She was there. They started talking about being in the sacred 28 and how much pressure there is from their parents to marry the right person and blah, blah, blah. It's 2002, whatever year it is. And that's it.
Okay, I can actually get that, but mine is very similar in that during the parade of witches going through his parlor that his mother was setting up teas with their mothers for, she just showed up with Daphne on Daphne's day. When he was asked to escort Daphne on a walk around the grounds, Astoria went with them, and Daphne was like, I'm gonna go sit over here and read a book because there's no way we're getting married. And Astoria was like, well, I'll walk with you. And they got to talking and they actually hit it off. I think part of the reason, and this is again my headcanon, part of the reason, regardless of her views, that his parents didn't like is because they didn't pick her.
I like that. I keep having flashes to the scene in The Crown when Charles is dating Diana's older sister, or not dating, but like visiting her. And then Diana's just kind of there and being, quirky and fun.
Mm-hmm. Which is where I was actually going. Like, I forgot about that scene, to be honest, but that has always been my headcanon, is that the Draco's year getting together at Daphne's house to hang out, and her annoying, fun little sister is no longer annoying and because she's older now, and Daphne lets her join them, just hanging out with them, and he finds himself enjoying talking to her.
Yeah.
And intrigued by what she has to say.
I like it. I like all three, though.
I do too.
Some of them could have worked. I do find it hysterical that all three of us didn't even pretend to entertain the idea that either one was working.
No.
Oh, no. If they're going on walks around his grounds, nobody's fucking working.
Nobody's working. They are 100% part of the idle rich.
I just think that's funny because we all were like, It was definitely during a setup type of thing. All right, so let's say they meet. They are